Hello, this is Riding with Ree. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new here. My channel is all about sharing my experience as a first-time horse owner alongside my London career. And 2022 has very much been focused on rehabbing from a pedal bone fracture that my horse Woody had. And so this video here is going to be an end-of-year update on where we've come from and where we are right now and what 2023 holds for us both. So if you haven't been watching all the way along, I have a full playlist that's kind of taking you on the journey from vlog to vlog from right back when we first got the diagnosis of pedal bone fracture back in March, so you can watch that up here, but I'll give you a quick rundown anyway. So in March of this year we'd had a great start to the year. He'd had a little bit of time off with an abscess and some mud fever. You can see he's got the poultice on here, so we need to take that off. You're being so funny this morning, what are you doing? And in hindsight I should have probably put some gaffer tape on it last night. Hopefully I can show you if any of the gunk has come out. So this is all this colour because of the iodine, but also because of the dirt. I don't know if you can see that. Here Woody is sort of marching along, he's really enjoying himself, he's snorting a bit and being a bit spooky, which is all to be expected and totally normal for him really, if slightly heightened because he hasn't been ridden, but otherwise everything was great. And then we kind of did some investigations because he came in lame one day from the field, discovered that he had a pedal bone fracture. So last week Woody went over to the amazing team at Lip Hook, which is one of our equine hospitals in this area of the country. Unfortunately, what they found is that Woody has fractured his pedal bone, which of all the fractures to do is one of the better ones. There are a couple of complications with Woody's fracture that make this a difficult one to rehab. Normally pedal bone fractures require 2 to 3 months of box rest and then 2 to 3 months of controlled exercise from the box, but in Woody's case our end of box rest date just kept getting pushed back because it just wasn't healing quick enough. And it was a really bad fracture. You know, I remember standing at the equine hospital when we did the workup and the vet saying to me, you know, just so you know, I don't know whether this is going to heal at all. There was a lot of confusion in the beginning over whether it was new, whether it was old, and they decided it was definitely new. So anyway, we ended up doing lots and lots and lots of box rest. The vet came to visit us a couple of weeks ago and she re-x-rayed Woody's front feet. And actually when she looked at the x-ray she was like, wow, the fracture's like bigger than I thought, and I'll put it in here so you can see. So she actually called up the vet from the hospital just to make sure that it was the same as what it had been on the MRI and that nothing had, you know, got worse. And it hadn't got worse. I think it was just bigger than she thought, or looked bigger than she thought. So when she came, we also did a workup, and she said he's looking much better behind in his hocks, which is really, really good news because actually, you know, we can heal the pedal bone, but it was really the arthritis that's something that we're going to have to manage for the rest of his life. So the fact that she thought it looked like it had responded well to the medication was really good news. But she did say that she didn't think the pedal bone had improved, and of course this was after a few weeks of in-hand walking. I think it was about 2 weeks when she revisited us. So instead we went back to box rest. So dear Woody here has been back on box rest for 3, actually it's been 4 weeks. 4 weeks now, with hand grazing with me and then grooming. And the vet is coming back in 2 weeks' time to do another checkup of Mr. Wood. And then we've got to the point now where earlier this month we got back on Woody for the first time and started doing ridden work. So we're now doing that controlled exercise from the box. We've been doing in-hand walking for quite a while, for several months to get us to this point. So today's visit with my vet was going to be all about whether or not we can progress to turnout or whether we need to wait just a little bit longer. And having looked at him, she decided that we probably need to do a little bit more controlled exercise from the box until Woody can turn out. And I wholeheartedly agree with her. Turnout is really important to me. I like my horses to have daily turnout as much as possible, but in this case we have a horse who has had to be in for a long time because of injury, and if we turn him out right now in the middle of January after, you know, not having brought him back into work very far, the chances of him having an injury are really quite high, because we think he's going to have a gallop about and slip over and everything. So instead, my vet would like us to work up until the point where we're doing a bit of trot before we decide to actually turn him out in the field, which is fine. He seems to be coping really, really well in his box. He's always very quiet, very calm. He's got no kind of box walking, crib biting, any of that stuff. So we're really happy with how he's coping. So what is next for Woody? So from here on out, for the next month, we are going to start hacking out twice a week in walk, about a 30 to 40 minute loop. And then for the other 4 days a week, we are going to do long lining, ridden walking in the school, and then a little bit of pole work, ridden pole work. So doing a kind of fan shape, getting his proprioception a little bit better, so that he sort of starts to think about where his feet are a bit more, knows where he's putting his body, and help to start building up strength. And then he'll have 1 day off a week. So we're going to do that for 2 weeks and see how he copes. And if he copes well, then we're going to up our hacking to 3 days a week. And then at the end of January, we're going to have the vet back out, and at that point we'll decide whether or not we can continue down the road. I mean, obviously the ideal scenario is that every time the vet comes out, we can up the work a little bit, adding in a further distance, adding in a bit of trot, and so on until you're back in full work. That's the ideal. And at some point along the line, we'll be able to turn him back out in the field and know that he is strong enough and calm enough to not re-injure himself. But also with rehab, there could be a situation where at some point down the road, he isn't able to cope with the level of work that we're asking for him, or something else comes up, and at that point we'll have to sort of have a conversation. So I'm really excited, and I really want to savour these moments, because they're few and far between in rehab, but part of me is also like, I don't want to get too excited, because there could be, at any point it could be like, actually we need to retire him. So for now everything's great. I'm really pleased. Hacking will be lovely. So to start him hacking, we're going to have to be really careful. Obviously we don't want to overface him, we don't want to cause any problems, so I'm probably going to hack out first with my coach on a really quiet horse and just see how we get on. And actually he's really good hacking out on his own, but obviously coming back to it after a long time away, he might find it more challenging. So we're just going to take it bit by bit and see how we get on. But I'm really excited. I am so grateful for you having been part of our journey this year. Whilst it's been an incredibly difficult year in terms of Woody and the rehab, being able to share it with you in a kind of like video diary has actually been really therapeutic for me, and it's helped me to kind of figure it out as I've gone along, and it's afforded me some incredible opportunities. You know, ending the year with a partnership with Champion is incredible, and having Odavard supplements by my side has been amazing. And you know, I've got to try some really exciting things this year, and that is because of you and the fact that you choose to watch me, and I get messages from you all. I was so incredibly touched actually by the amount of messages I got when I got back on Woody, and I had voice notes from people, and it's really lovely. It's very touching, and I feel like Woody has a big group of vibes behind him. So thank you so much for being here. I hope you have a lovely new year, and yeah, new year, new start. I hope everything goes well with your horses for you for the rest of the year, and I will see you in 2023.